The minute we came out of the dressing room, all of a sudden, the photographer started taking photos of us. And then everyone dropped their chopsticks and started looking at us.
Literally and metaphorically, I'm sure. It was minds are blown.
And they said, who are these ladies? Who are these old ladies?
Welcome to Bitch Talk. I'm your host, Erin.
And I'm co-host Ange, a.k.a. Captain Party.
And for more than 11 years, the show has celebrated underrepresented voices in pop culture and beyond.
But not in the snore kind of way, which is why our listeners and followers have graciously voted us Best of the Bay, Best Podcast on 48 Hills for 3 years in a row. Three-peat, bitches.
If you like what you hear, follow us on Instagram and check out our website, Bitch Talk Podcast, and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're begging you to judge us. When does that ever happen? Oh, you're not going to say anything?
Oh, what'd I say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, on that note, on with the show. Clink. All right, Bitch Talkers, we are bringing you an interview that was recorded back in May during CAAMFest that we have been waiting for the right time to put out. And for better or worse, now is a good time because CAAMFest is, for those of you that don't know, the Center for Asian American Media. It's one of the festivals that we look forward to covering every year, and it's one of the festivals whose funding has been cut.
Because of the elimination of funding to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, CAAM stands to lose about 40% of their annual budget. They have a really tight connection with public media. A lot of the films that we see through CAAM will directly go to your public broadcasting system. So that's why we wanted to release this interview now and just let you know what's going on and how these cuts trickle downward. It's not just corporate public media or Corporation for Public Media. It affects all of us. So to that point, if you have any funds to give CAAM Media, you can do that at caammedia.org. You can find them on Instagram. You can find them everywhere and just see what they're about.
But in the interim, please enjoy this really fun interview. And hopefully you'll understand through talking with Cynthia and Luca why this film is so important and why CAAMFest really brings a lot of joy and is a lifeline to people in our communities. All right, it's CAAMFest 2025, one of our favorite festivals in the city. And I'm very excited to be sitting down to talk about a documentary that is very close to my heart. It's called Chinatown Cha-Cha. And we're here with the director, Luca Yuanyuan Yang, and the star of the one of the stars of the film, Cynthia Yi. Welcome to Bitch Talk.
Yay, so happy to be here.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Luca, we're going to start with you as our filmmaker. Can you introduce the film to our audience?
Chinatown Cha-Cha is a feature-length documentary, follows the 92-year-old burlesque dancer, Kobe Yi, and the senior dance troupe, Grand Avenue Follies, onto a road journey. So we are start touring from the U.S. and then to Cuba and later to China. The film connects diasporic Chinese communities through dance, music, performance. Yeah.
So beautiful. I have to start by saying this film is like food for my soul. I live in Chinatown. I've lived there for 10 years. So I walk through the streets, and one of my favorite things about my neighborhood is in Washington Square Park in the mornings, seeing our little elders dancing. Are you out there dancing sometimes, Cynthia?
I would love to join them for some Tai Chi, and I know they work with the fans all the time. I'm always fascinated. You know, I used to do walking tours to North Beach, and I used to see the ladies, they had even the swords doing the Tai Chi, and I always wanted to learn, but never had the chance.
Okay, yeah, well, so I just, it really hit close to home about so many things that I love about San Francisco, but I think more importantly, as I'm a first generation Filipino American, and we spend our whole lives trying to fit in to this culture, this U.S. culture, never realizing that our ancestors are a big part of that culture. And it's because this culture was hidden. It was hidden from us.
Yep.
So I'd like to talk about, Luca, how you found out about these fabulous women and how you connected, like the first time both of you met.
Yeah. So that was rewinding back to 2018. My background is actually visual art. Chinatown Cha-Cha is my first feature film. So around that time, I was doing an art residency program, and I've been always fascinated by stories of Anna May Wong. And I thought I want to research more about Chinese women in performing arts in early 20th century. And, there must be more stories of women to be told, but, unheard and neglected. So I was researching, and then, during the research, I learned about, through Arthur Dong's documentary about Forbidden City nightclub USA, I learned, wow, there is actually a nightclub scene in San Francisco that I never heard about. And then I realized there's Grand Avenue Follies, who's still very active, still performing and on tour all the time. So I found Cynthia through Facebook. I sent her a message. I said, I want to interview you. I want to visit San Francisco to interview you. She told me, are we going to do a performance in Las Vegas next week? I was like, right, I'm going to see you in Las Vegas. But the first moment when I saw them, and also I saw Kobe, and they were like performing on stage, it was like a falling in love moment. I was, so fascinated by their energy, their charm, their creativity. That moment I thought, okay, I have to change my plan. It can't just be an art project. It has to be a documentary film, because I think that's the only way, I can show them, like, so that how lively, how creative, and how, amazing they are on screen.
They've been camera ready. They've been ready for this moment their whole lives, Cynthia.
Yes.
So, maybe, Cynthia, if you can just start from the beginning, how you started in this dance troupe, and then you can lead up to meeting Luca, because the whole thing is just so interesting.
Well, Grand Avenue Follies started in 2003. I was the president of the Chinese Hospital Auxiliary at that time, and I was asked to do a performance or give some entertainment for our dinner. And if you know Chinese banquets, everyone is always very bored with the entertainment. So I said, well, we're going to have to come up with something a little different. So I was taking tap dancing classes at the senior center. And so I grabbed 3 of my friends that were dancers in the nightclub era with me. And we were under doctor's orders to keep active and take class of some kind, keep learning. So we were taking tap classes with the Park and Rec. And I gathered the 3 of them, and I said, we're going to have to compete with these Chinese folk dance groups. So let's put on some fishnet stockings. We'll get the hat and cane, and we will get a short white tuxedo. And let's do the number that we just learned. I think it was called Top Hat. And the minute we came out of the dressing room, all of a sudden, the photographer, I remember vividly, Frank Zhang, he was the photographer, and he started taking photos of us. And then everyone dropped their chopsticks and started looking at us.
Literally and metaphorically, I'm sure. Minds are blown.
And they said, who are these ladies? Who are these old ladies? And so we did our number, Top Hat, and after that we were, asked by different senior centers to perform. And so that's how we started, and we are now 22 years old.
And can you talk about your connection with Kobe as well, who, for our listeners, owned the Forbidden City nightclub, which also for a woman owner at the time, like, she was just breaking so many glass ceilings.
I was only 10 years old when I first saw Kobe on stage. My mom took me to the nightclub because she had some friends from out of town, no babysitters in those days. So they dragged me along, and I saw Kobe do her burlesque. It was my first time seeing a burlesque dancer. I was fascinated. And I said, wow, it's so glamorous and everything. And that was the first time I saw her. And then I actually went home to imitate her. And in 2000, I guess about the same time, 2016, I believe, that I met Kobe for the first time again, I should say. What year was it?
2015.
Oh, 2015, okay.
We met in 2018.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. And so I said, Kobe, we have a senior show, and we go to different nursing homes to perform, senior centers and whatnot. And she said, oh, no, I don't want to perform anymore. I said, well, it'd be fun. And so I convinced her to do a show with us. And I think from then on, she was hooked back on the stage, The blood was running. And so that's how we started with Kobe. And then I brought her down to the Burlesque Hall of Fame in Las Vegas, and that's where we met Luca, correct? Yeah, Luca had called me, and I said, well, we're going to be at Ping Pang Pong for dim sum. And so she said, okay, I'll meet you there. And so when she walked in, I think we fell in love with her. It was just nice. It was just nice.
And it's funny, later on, this documentary started, and then, in Chinese, we call 导演 as director, but tour guide is 导游. And I think my role while making Chinatown Cha-Cha constantly switched between 导演 and 导游. And sometimes I become the show manager as well. So
You got a 2-for-1 deal, Cynthia.
We did.
we were still on tour. We just got back from Europe. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so I'm so jealous, Luca, that you get to hang out with these fabulous women. And I was going to ask you, Cynthia, if I get a fake ID, can I join the Grant Avenue Follies?
You have to be 65 years old. You have a long ways
I'm
to
so
go,
impatient.
Angela.
Not that long, trust me. But no, I love how much fun you have. And I love that Kobe got to have this full circle moment and have her flowers given to her, because this story, it's so important that it not be forgotten. And did you know, Cynthia, the history? Like, I know you were 10 when you first saw this performance, but did you know how deep it went? And, everybody knows, at least in San Francisco, about Carol Doda, who is a very popular topless dancer, and for valid reason. She revolutionized, the whole industry. But, Kobe and the Forbidden City walked so Carol Doda could run, right? And but nobody ever talks about that.
That's very true. But Kobe was a very special personality, not only as a burlesque dancer, but as a business owner for the last, she owned it for about 10 years before Forbidden City closed down and Doda took off on Broadway. And so that's basically, I always blame the topless for shutting down the Forbidden City and different nightclubs in Chinatown. I just loved Kobe, and she was just such an inspiration to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a really interesting time because it was late 60s, right? And then also, there was this Chinese Exclusion Act lasted for more than half century. And then, gradually later in the 60s, and finally Chinese can start to leave Chinatown around that time to search jobs at other locations. So I think that's also one of the reasons.
Right,
why.
and we were finally allowed to buy property outside of Chinatown. So everybody moved away, and sure enough, families had mortgages. And so I think all that contributed to the closing of Chinatown nightclubs.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think this is all still within our lifetime or one generation of, it wasn't that long ago, so it is comforting to know that at least there's been some progress when sometimes it feels like we're taking 10 steps back, depending on, we won't get into deeper issues in the country. But I think another important thing about this film is, especially in the States, this whole ageism thing that we have of like trying to reverse age and trying not wanting to share your age. This whole women shouldn't age, but it's okay for men to age. I just love seeing women take agency and be proud of their sexuality and have confidence. And I think we need so many more examples of that. But also, if I had legs like y'all, I would be wearing fishnet stockings too. I'll say that. But I just love seeing that. I think it's so important. I think we need to flip the script because it's so unhealthy, our relationship with aging.
Yeah, like one of the things I was really touched, Follies member, there are about like 10-ish members in Follies. Some of them, they love music and dancing when they were young, but they never had a chance to actually stand on stage because of their occupation, because of their parents. But then when they get to the senior age, they're like, wow, all of a sudden here's this liberal moment. I can dance in this way I want with Follies on stage. I can wear short skirts, show my legs, see how beautiful I am. It's
That's very true because, for example, we have one lady, actually 2 sisters. They are preachers' daughters, and they always wanted to sing and dance, but their parents did not allow them to do that. So Emily, she retired as a professor. and because her parents did not allow her to take dance lessons. And for her birthday, I think as a young teenager, she just wanted to take one dance class. And so she was given $1 to take the class of dance class in Chinatown. And after the dance class, her mother said, nope, you cannot continue, even though the teacher thought you were, super talented. However, you could take piano because you could play piano. So
better late than never, right?
Exactly. So when she retired at the age of 65, here we have a retired professor in our group, and she's having a ball.
So I have to bring up my parents at this point because they've both passed away, but they moved to a retirement community down south, and they were part of this Filipino group, and they would perform dances. Like, they never saw a choreographed dance they didn't love. My parents were just doing cha-cha, all sorts of dances like you all were doing. And I feel like my parents having that group and having these activities, really, their quality of life soared. So can you talk about, through Chinatown, Grant Avenue Follies, and even Kobe's legacy, how community, we really need to get back to living as a community.
Right. My dream is to actually move back into Chinatown. And I grew up in Chinatown as a child and moved away, of course. And now I live in the outer Richmond. But my dream is to actually live upstairs in one of the SROs in my retirement, because it would be so comfortable for me. I already named the Clarion Performing Arts Center as the Aya House upstairs. And I picture us living upstairs, and all we do is roll down the stairs in the morning, and we'll go across the street to the YMCA to do our exercises. Then we'll go have lunch at a nearby restaurant. There's plenty of restaurants on Waverly and Clay Street, and sing and dance to our hearts out. So that's my dream. That's the Aya House.
Actually, the Chinese title of the film 女人世界, it was a reference of a 1939 lost film. And the film itself is now lost, but we know the synopsis. And, when Cynthia told me about her dream, that really echoed with the narrative of that film, because it was the first all-Chinese female cast movie. The story is about this group of women. They share similar hobbies, similar belief. They live in the same apartment. And I was like, when I saw Grand Avenue Follies, I feel like they're the contemporary version of that story. And from a younger person perspective, these days, I think many young girls, their sisterhood or their friendship with their girlfriends are actually stronger than, their friendship, the relationship with their boyfriends or whatsoever. Some of them, they choose, to bond with their girlfriends as a group, as a new kind of family style, And I think, to many younger audience, Follies is also like an inspiration for a new model of sisterhood or family in a way.
Yeah, that's very, very true. I believe that, having this sisterhood, it takes you out of the house. And after rehearsal, we always go out to eat and just have a good time. And we travel together. We do everything together. And it's been a real nice journey.
I love that. It could be a Sisterhood of the Traveling Fishnets. Maybe
like
that
that
could be the sequel.
I like that.
Cynthia, I'm telling you, if you let me join the group, I act like a 65-year-old. My knees are killing me. My back. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think I can keep up with y'all
right.
because I want to talk about the travel. Like, this is incredible. You get to see the world. But in this film in particular, you go to Cuba, which I've also been, so I want to talk about Cuba because what a fascinating country. Can you talk about what were your expectations? And because Cuba is such an interesting place to visit. It's so different. It's so beautiful and special in the dancing. Some of the best dancers I've ever seen.
So this Cuba journey started because I was researching about Chinese performance artists in early 20th century. And then, I went to different Chinatowns to interview people. So the moment when I met Cynthia, I already went to Cuba. And I was sharing stories about, Havana Chinatown. And I said, I really hope to go again. And since I was like, I know so much about Havana, Chinatown, and if you want to do that, let's get on the journey together. But what I didn't expect is like within 1 week, 16 senior Chinese American dancer want to join the group to go to Havana. And I really want to give some context because San Francisco Chinatown, Havana Chinatown used to have a very close relationship before Cuban Revolution. There were many tours of Cantonese opera troupe, and there were also a lot of business trading and film distribution, just very close connections. Chinatown there used to be as big and vibrant as San Francisco Chinatown. It has 5 theaters, a lot of restaurants, business, banks, but things were changed. So when I was there, I saw the forgotten theater that's been lying there, just forgotten for half century. I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if we can reactivate that stage to let 2 group of Chinese meet and perform on the same stage. So the moment when Cynthia was like, I want to join, I was like, oh my God, this is a dream come true moment. If that could happen, it would be so meaningful, if they can meet, if they can perform the same stage. So it happened.
So you made that happen within weeks of the idea?
So
I mean, more or less.
There were 4 months of preparation.
That's insane. Still, that's wow. You really were wearing all the hats, Luca. That's impressive. But I think that's the beauty of being a troupe that is retired.
Yes.
You can just pick up and go.
That's right. Our bags were packed.
I have to thank you so much for this film. If you can't tell how much I loved it, I think the message that it shares for those of us to how to look at our futures and look at aging in such a beautiful way, but also honoring our past and our past roots here as immigrants, and to the great Kobe for everything she did for us. So thank you for being with me today. Thank you for this story. Where can we watch you perform?
Yes, look for us at the Clarion Performing Arts Center in Chinatown. And if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel, that would be wonderful. And that's all I ask. And everything will be right there.
Okay.
And Grand Avenue Follies actually has this amazing museum in the basement of Clarion. It's called Showgirl Magic Museum. It has archive, costumes, you can see the history of San Francisco Chinatown nightclub in Chinatown right now.
So what are the future goals for Chinatown Cha-Cha?
So we had a theatrical release in China last year. It was, we were so well received, and Follies traveled to China as well to see the audience. And, there were different groups of audience, but what really touches us is many younger generation want to bring their mother and their grandmother even to the screenings to inspire them. Don't stay at your home. You can go out to dance. You can do, there's so many things to do, It's just, this year we're doing the world tour of Chinatown Cha-Cha, and we just finished the Europe section, and now we're in United States.
One last thing, Cynthia, I want to end it on a local note. Since you were born and raised in Chinatown, it's easy for us to get bitter about, things are changing in the city and gentrification and things, but life in big cities it's always changing, and it's so cyclical, right? So I'd love just to hear your thoughts on Chinatown, San Francisco, and watching it grow and evolve and through the years, and how you see it as it stands today.
I think Chinatown has changed, yes. However, it's also in many ways has changed for the better. We have just been voted the #1 night market by USA Today, and so much stuff going on. New stores, more restaurants, different kinds of restaurants. It's no longer just limited to Cantonese food. We have Hunan, we have Malaysian, just so many different things. And I think it will be different, but it's going towards young people coming in to help out, and they have the same goals. They want to make Chinatown better.
One more thing, you're a tour guide. Do you want to give a shout out to that as well?
Oh, yes. My Chinatown ghost tours has been very, very popular. I've been doing it for the past 30 years, I guess. And you could, go onto the site of grandavenuefollies.org, I believe, and SF Chinatown ghosttours.org. org and get more information. I normally only do groups at these times, but yeah, you get me out of the house.
I think you get out of the house enough, Cynthia. Do you ever rest?
Very hard to keep up with her pace.
Whatever you're doing, it's working. I need to get on both of your wavelengths because I love how you're just movers and shakers. Thank you. It's really been an honor to talk about Chinatown Cha-Cha. We've been speaking with director Luca Yuanyuan Yang and one of the stars of the film, Cynthia Yi, and, my new hero. I'll call you in 20 years, Cynthia. I'll be ready to dance with the Foleys.
Okay, you're it.
Thanks for joining us on today's show. You can find more information about this episode in our show notes.
If you're missing us, you can visit us at bitchtalkpodcast.com to sign up for our newsletter and buy us a cup of coffee.
Did you know we're also on the radio? You can find us at bff.fm.
And lastly, rate and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. All the cool bitches are doing it.